Here is the beautiful gravestone for George Griffith White, one of the first pioneers to settle in Colorado. He was taken prisoner during the Civil War until the end. He went on to practice law and ranching along with his father and family. He married Sarah Ann Morton Kemp and was the co-author and signer of the Colorado Constitution of 1876. Notable Denver resident, 1869-1911, Charles Joseph Barth. Banking, real estate, mason, Knights Templar, cattleman, huntsman, fisherman. Father William Barth, owner of the Equitable Building in Denver. Charles Joseph Barth passed away of a stroke in his home at 41. The family business built from being a shoe cobbler. Soon we will come to William A. Cates, Pony Express fastest ride. His record 17 days, 7 hours, and 17 minutes. From St. Joseph, Missouri to Sacramento, California. The message being from Abraham Lincoln's inaugural address. The speech telegraphed to Fort Kearney, Nebraska, taken by Pony Express to Folsom, California, and telegraphed to Sacramento. Horses averaged 10 miles an hour at a lope, only to gallop to get out of harm's way. Changed out every 10 to 15 miles, there were approximately 165 stations placed 75 to 100 miles apart. There were relay stations placed every 10 to 15 miles apart, and this would be where they would change horses. The Pony Express ran 24/7, 365 days from April 3rd, 1860 to October 1861. The cost of a letter was $5 per half an ounce to drop to $1 per ounce by 1861. Mr. Brown passed away at his home of an illness of several weeks at age 70. Next to his wife, Lotta Mary Cates, passed in 1888 at age 30 years. John Bass was an early baseball player, shortstop in First Major League National Association. Born July 22, 1848, he played from 1871 to 1877, playing for the Cleveland Cities, Brooklyn Atlantics, and Hartford Dark Blues. In 1871, he led the National Association in triples with 10. He also had served in Company F of the 1st New York Cavalry Regiment during the Civil War. In 1888, he was living in Brooklyn, New York. He came down with tuberculosis, so he moved to Denver for the fresh air, but passed away 2 months later. September 25th, 1888. What a really cool picture of him in his uniform. And this great tombstone to mark his legacy. Jacob C.E. Cummings, December 19, 1839 to July 27, 1890, age 50. Corporal, Company G, 2nd Regiment, New Jersey Volunteers. Broken circle of chain, one by one Earth's ties are broken, as we see our love decay, and the hopes so fondly cherished brighten but to pass away. One by one our hopes grow brighter as we near the shining shore, for we know across the river wait the loved ones gone before. Lieutenant Colonel John G. Pilson, Civil War Union Army officer, Colonel of the 3rd New York Artillery, Company A, 15 New York, Hart, and U.S. Volunteer aide-de-camp. A veteran of the Civil War and Battle of the Wilderness, severely wounded and was an invalid for many years, to pass of a stroke, aged 77 years. Thank you for your service and many sympathies for your wounds. Rest in peace. Silas Stillman Soule, July 26, 1838 to April 23, 1865. I'm excited to find Mr. Soule's grave, an American abolitionist, Kansas Territory Jayhawker, and family aligning themselves with John Brown, also a famous abolitionist, and Walt Whitman, a humanist, poet, and journalist. During the Civil War, Silas joined the Colorado Volunteers, rising to the rank of captain in the Union Army, in command of Company D, 1st Colorado Cavalry, present at the Sand Creek Massacre. On November 29, 1864, he refused to be a part of the battle and testified against the massacre's commanding officer, John Shivington. And soon, 2 months after testifying and 3 weeks after getting married, he was on duty as Marshal of the Colorado Territory in Denver, faced with a Charles Squire. Silas shot first, but was then shot and his life taken. Only 2 weeks after the end of the Civil War, a plaque in his honor is placed at 15th and Arapahoe, where his life was taken. Silas Soule was born into a family of abolitionists in Bath, Maine, a part of the newly formed New England Immigrant Aid Company to help settle Kansas Territory. and bring it into the Union as a free state, near Lawrence, where the Soules family was one of the founding families. Amasa Soule, Silas's father, established his household as a stop on the Underground Railroad. At 17, Silas was escorting slaves and escapees from Missouri headed north to freedom. Silas was described as brave and a very resourceful fighter. He had seen the Cheyennes fly the Union flag as a sign of peace at Sand Creek, and when ordered to attack, he instead, along with Lieutenant Joseph A. Kramer, ordered their men to hold their fire and stay put. I found this story to be fascinating and to see through Silas Soule's eyes of history, to be brave and stand up for what you believe in. A crazy thing for a man to do at a time when you definitely could lose your life, and sadly that is what happened. Thank you for your service, bravery, and courage to you and all the servicemen here at Riverside Cemetery. William and Anna Wise, 1843 to 1912 and 1835 to 1906. Founding pioneering family, owned the property where Union Station in downtown Denver now stand, 160 acres. Father Louis Schlesinger raised an army of 300 men to oppose military rule in Germany. When that failed, they started a linen factory in Prague, finally setting sail for America. Louis was born in 1809 and passed in 1893 at age 84. Louis Mayenski, 1868 to May 8, 1887, aged 19 years, son of Nina and Jacob, died from an accident while on duty in Pueblo, Colorado. Frank L. Fix, 1872 to 1898, age 26. We miss thee from our home. We miss thee from thy place. A shadow o'er our lie is cast. We miss the sunshine of thy face. We miss thy kind and willing hand, thy fond and earnest care. Our home is dark without thee. We miss thee everywhere. Here rests a woodman of the world. Alexander and Wilhelmina Watson, veteran of the Civil War and Battle of the Wilderness, severely wounded and was an invalid for many years, to pass of a stroke, aged 77 years. Thank you for your service and many sympathies for your wounds. Rest in peace. Oliver the Ghost Marcel was an American third baseman in the Negro Leagues for a number of teams lasting 1918 to 1931. Also playing shortstop, a Creole born in Louisiana, he batted and threw right-handed. He was considered by most to be the greatest fielding third baseman in the league of the 1920s and quite possibly of all time. Oliver was born on June 24, 1895, to Daniel and Eliza Marcel and 4 sisters and 1 brother. Although his former teammate John "Buck" O'Neill would say Oliver told him he was from New Orleans, where his career started, playing for the Brooklyn Royal Giants 1918 and 1919. There were 2 reasons he was called the Ghost: for his fielding style, standing 10 feet off the bag, then leaping to catch the ball. He also would disappear after the games, no one knowing his whereabouts, till he returned to the next game. He played for the Atlantic City Baccarat Giants from 1920 to 1923. In 1924 and part of 1925, he played with the New York Lincoln Giants, then returning to Atlantic City until 1928. He was also known for his terrible temper, fighting with umpires, opponents, and teammates. There was even a story where he hit Oscar Charleston in the head with a bat. He participated in 2 Negro World Series for the Baccarat Giants, doing very well for himself. But even better when he went up against white competition. A strange incident happened in the late 1920s. Oliver's teammate Frank Warfield reportedly bit Oliver Marcel's nose off after the 2 got into a fight over a dice game in Cuba. He wore a patch over his nose, but got to where he couldn't play baseball anymore. Oliver had been a staple of the Cuban Winter League throughout the decade. In the 1923-24 season, he batted .393 to lead the league. He ended with an overall .305 in Cuba. May 1st of 1925, the New York Lincoln Giants won the game, whereas Oliver and several teammates, Dave Brown and Frank Wickware, went out on the town to celebrate, where they ended up in a speakeasy. They got into a disagreement with a man named Benjamin Adair, who ended up shot in the stomach, passing away on arrival to the hospital. The 3 baseball players fled the scene in a taxicab. Dave Brown left town never to be seen again, placed on the FBI's most wanted list, never arrested and whereabouts unknown. Oliver and Frank Wickware were arrested, questioned, and released, and not charged. Oliver was part of the $1 million infield of the Baltimore Black Sox in 1929 and finishing his career with the Brooklyn Royal Giants in 1930. After some time with the Detroit Stars, he didn't play much longer. His final average was around .315 with 11 home runs. He quit baseball in 1930, coached and toured with the Miami Giants, ending up in Denver. But his biggest contribution to baseball would come next. In 1934, the Denver Post sponsored the biggest semi-pro baseball tournaments in the country. Oliver convinced the Post sports editor to invite the Kansas City Monarchs, a black team, to the tournament. The Post invited the Monarchs with a pitcher named Satchel Paige, who would later join the Hall of Fame. The tournament was Paige's first exposure to the white press. This is believed to be the beginning of the integration of baseball. Prior to 1934, Denver had black and white teams. The following year, the teams became integrated, 11 years prior to Jackie Robinson. Oliver worked as a laborer for a while, but continued his drinking and hot temper, becoming estranged from his family. His son Ziggy, a former Southern University basketball star, also played in the Negro Leagues. Mr. Oliver Marcel died penniless 2 weeks before his 54th birthday due to heart disease. He was buried in an unmarked grave. A mortgage banker named Sanford heard of Oliver Marcel when he was researching the Negro Leagues. Sanford started an effort to grant a tombstone by help of the Zephyrs and the Colorado Rockies, with a June 1st, 1991 ceremony to have the grave marker unveiled. A quote on the grave reads, "Baseball's best third baseman, brought professional black baseball to Colorado. Jack Buck O'Neill, teammate." Oliver Marcel was inducted into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame in 1993, and friend Buck O'Neill's long overdue induction into the National Baseball Hall of Fame 2022, having passed in 2006. Oliver Marcel, considered to be one of the most intriguing, mysterious, complicated, and tragic figures of baseball history, to be nicknamed Ghost and become a ghost, to finally come into the age where people and their legacies will be remembered, no longer forgotten hero. The stories of Riverside Cemetery to be continued. Many of the lives here are intertwined with other people, places, and stories from the beyond. We will return, but for now, on to the many intriguing stories of our past, present, and even into the future. Thank you for watching. Love and the beauty of the new year be with you, in prosperity and easy manifestation. Soon we will come to a red brick mausoleum resting Ovando James Hollister, 1834 to 1892, and Caroline Vroom Carey Matthews Hollister, 1838 to 1917. They married in 1869. Carey, the half-sister to the Vice President of Ulysses S. Grant, Schuyler Colfax Jr., and also Speaker of the U.S. House before his vice presidency under Presidents Lincoln and Johnson. Ovando was an author, historian, Civil War soldier, newspaper editor, publicist, civil leader. He was placed into the care of Shakers in his childhood with little education, working as a farm laborer, later moving to Kansas, then headed to Colorado for the gold rush. Then to move to Utah, marry Carey, and settle into politics, promoting the interests for church, state, and schools.